אוקיי, גוד מורנינג, בוקר טוב לכולם. היה לילה מאוד מאוד, אני חושב, קשה להגיד פורה מההיבט המדעי, זה היה תכנון, אבל כמו שאמרתי, אתם יודעים, אנשים מתכננים, אבל אחרי זה יש בלת"מים מה שנקרא. התכנון היה באמת להתקדם בהרצאות, כי הכנתי כבר הרבה דברים מעניינים. בדרך כלל אני לא מכין, אני מדבר ככה שוטף מהלב, אבל כשזה קשור במדע, אני מנסה קצת כן לחשוב על הדברים קצת לפני, שלא אתם יודעים לצאת לגמרי חאפר. אם כי כמובן, אני לא מדען, אבל אני עושה מה שאני יכול במסגרת האילוצים, כן, אני מדבר, אם זה מעניין, מעניין, לא מעניין, לא מעניין. אז כן, הכנתי כבר דברים גם בעניין של... האמת שהחנתון, הסיפור של החנתון, הפואנטה, נקרא לזה, המדעית, כבר אמרתי אותה כמה פעמים, אבל אני ארחיב קצת על הנושא הזה, אבל מה שחשוב לי זה לחבר את זה לאספקט האישי, ולדבר על דיבינציות שהיו לי שקשורות במצרים והעתיקה כמובן. נושא שכמעט לא דיברתי אליו, אלא לפני 3 שנים או 2.5 שנתיים, אולי אפשר למצוא באברנוט, אם בכלל. Actually, I remember that, I was occupied with this issue that I mostly don't think about too much. Mostly, there were like 2 or 3 times that I had like a trip to, to the vicinity of the Dead Sea, Ям המלח, and I slept in Pundak, it's called Pundak En Gedi. It's like, the En Gedi, they have like an hotel which is like, for the, for the serious people, like the old school hotel, but they have like, closer to the sea, like, before we enter the kibbutz actually, there's like, kind of like more like for youngsters or young in heart, like, so, I always took like, the tent, which is the most lucrative. At the time I still had money, like, even though it's not that expensive, 700 shekels. And you can presumably, you can, put up to 8 people in the tent. I was always alone. But there are like the cheaper options with that, to sleep like in, like in, כזה מסחרית כזאת של פולקסווגן, שהיה בשנות ה-60, שנות ה-70. הם עשו לזה רינוביישן, אתה יכול לפשוט בפנים. ויש אופציה אפילו עוד יותר, שזה רק על איזה מזרון כזה, או מזרון כזה צופה לחוף, שזה אפילו עוד יותר זול. אני באתי שם לא בשביל לנפוש, אלא פשוט בעיה שהתרסקתי עם העייפות, היה לי טיולים מאוד מאוד ארוכים בדרום. אבל שם היה לי דיבינציות שקשורות בנושא של באמת מצרים, וגם היו כמה שהיו בסביבות שוהם, עשיתי טיולים ברגליים בסביבות ביער בן שמן, שזה קרוב לשוהם. אני לא מחשיב את זה, I do not consider it like part of the son of the mother, issue, even though, presumably it's, yes, it's related to the pagan issues, but it's a different thing. But I was really, I hoped, I really wanted to speak about, the cosmology issue, and and also energy stuff that are extremely important, but the issue with the masturbation, that you can't even masturbate. Of course, sex is out of the question, it's illegal. Any kind of romantic relationship with a woman, never mind the kind of the woman, can be like, Homo sapiens or Titan, it's both, it's illegal. But you cannot even masturbate. And it's not a new thing. I should say, they are doing it to me for several years now. Started when I moved to my mother's apartment, so Shaul, Captain Tachtonim, was in charge of doing the noise, and here, everybody. Of course, you are in the privacy of your own room, but still, this is so disgusting, and just to speak about it is so humiliating, but it should be said for the record. It's humiliating to speak about it. Like, it's the worst kind of abuse and humiliation that I've never heard of in any kind of jail. But this is my life. For a long time, and of course, everybody is going to be punished for that. Everybody, in this world and the next one. So we had to, keep this all night, the cuffing all night. I do not consider myself a person of intelligence, services. I never was, never have been. So I don't mind always speaking, telling you what I know, what I don't know, like something, I mean, I don't completely understand, but I mean, just, in the associative level, but I don't like to think about it like, like voodoo. I like to think about it in more scientific matter, and sometimes I don't know enough. And again, sometimes the things that I don't know are just related to things that are very basic in like the usage by the Israeli intelligence or the American intelligence, but I mean, it's not only that I don't belong to them, my concern is different and mostly global or scientific. So I would say that this kind of music, the coughing 10 hours, like it's not the first time that I play it, like, as retaliation against coughing, because they always do to me. always. This is the soundtrack of my life. I mean, you can hear every note, for more than 2 years ago that I already say, why do they do the coughing like in Shom all the time? It was always like that and still like that. And it must have done it like retaliation, and it affects me seriously. Like I mean, after maybe 30 minutes, it makes me very anxious and tired. So I must stop like after 30 minutes. But this night I had no problem all night long. So I don't know why. Maybe, yeah. And I've used the 4 cups. In retrospective, I understand that you can arguably this one. You can say it's kind of like similar to Zoroastrianism, like worship. Maybe, I don't know. Perhaps. But the idea was, of course, to signify as usual humans and titans, 2 and 2, and they're roughly the same size because it's not a matter of the change, like I've explained to you, like how to change, איך כאילו לגנוב, לקחת בחזרה את, הסברתי לטיטנים, אני מקווה שהם ישתמשו בזה, אף אחד לא סיפר לי על זה כלום, אבל אני מקווה שהם ישתמשו בזה בשביל לקחת בחזרה את הנוירונים שלקחו להם, במיוחד אלה שבנוגה, אבל אולי גם פה בכדור הארץ, גם פה יש כל מיני שפחות עבדים שהם abused all their life. But it's not the issue. It's like mostly when you use 2 that are the same, 2 containers that are the same, mostly it's not good news. Like it's something terrible, mostly. But this belongs to the symbolic language, and I don't want to get into it right now. This is not the standard usage, and it's like it's like apocalyptic usage, Anyway, I burned quite a bit of Neros from the container, and with oil and beeswax. Today, maybe, or next couple of days, I'll actually take a microscopic examination of the container to see what's going on, because I haven't taken an examination in quite a while, and I like to be, in touch with what's going on. I burned quite a bit of Neros, but I still think that, I suspect that it's still should be quite a bit in it, even though I burned quite a bit. I will also replenish it with oil and wax and the other material, and I will replenish it with some more later today, after shopping. So maybe it's because of the Neros, or maybe because of the starships, and maybe because, people don't have enough Neros in their, they have very little, like, all over the world, and I have maybe much more, because it's not the same. It's the yellow Neros, not the red ones. So maybe it's kind of like, there's kind of a balance. But in any case, it wasn't difficult for me to stay, all night and listening to this music continuously, doing all sort of stuff, but, in parallel. And I admit I don't know why. And I don't want to sell you any voodoo explanation. I don't know why. Just saying, but after 30 minutes, it's, that I do it as retaliation, I must stop. But by the way, the way that I use it is not the way that, like I use non-subliminal, as you hear. It's like, mostly, from my understanding, when people try to torture you with this sound, they don't need to do it in the subliminal way with the Neros, because they just use their, their vocal cord, and that's what they do all the time. But when they want to torture you, they actually use subliminal sound and amplify it with the Neros. But that's not my way. Like, I use, maximum sound that I can produce, which is not much, just 2 iPads. I don't have a speaker, unfortunately. Like I have several speakers from the garbage, but I use it for magnets. They weren't working. I don't have like speaker that I can use. So it's, I mean, you know, just the 2 iPads, but I mean, and I broadcast to everybody. Even though now I removed the yellow background from the large mirror, I didn't remove from the smaller one, black mirror, which is actually an iPad, because I mean it's stapled. But I mean I removed. So you can ask, why did you even put it in there? So now we have the pink and the blue, which is, you know, the Venusians and the Terrans. Just to say, the people mostly belong to where they were born. Even if they are here, I mean, they belong to Venus if they are pink. Mostly, it's not always like that. And there's also the issue of like, what type are they? Like, are they metal or glass or clay, which is also important. Let's not get into it. Just to say, yellow actually have 2 explanations for that. First, broadcast to the people they became yellow, because I'm not the only yellow. Yellows are Martians, and in this incarnation now, I identify with the Martians for reasons that are not important right now. It's not really important right now. Of course, I'm not a Martian. I'm a cherub. You know, it's not the cherubs. I mean, they originated in in a galaxy far, far away, a long time ago. But I mean, I take this form. I'm a cherub in human form, or Titan form, or Martian form, which is all the same form because they all share origins. All originated in Mars, of course, as is described in both, like, in the fairy tale Three Sisters, which will be completed sometime, and also, several anecdotal, historical, Titanomachy episodes. So no, I'm not a Martian, but I identify with them in that current capacity. But several people actually became Martians. I'm not the only yellow background. Like mostly Homo sapienses and several Titans. Not many. This is like a kind of like, I mean, the obvious ones are, my children and also my ex-wife. And I describe these processes in the past, and it's referenced in the Three Sisters fairy tale. But there are others. But although there is also, I mean, there is actually benefit in broadcasting to Mars, even though there is nobody that is awake over there. There is the whole issue of the crucible of the awakened. I've spoken about it in the past. I don't want to get into it. But I mean, it's like, like in Warcraft 3, for the real-time strategy lovers, like, the druid of the claw that, I mean, or maybe it's the druid of the talon, that, I mean, he wants to recruit because, I mean, they are fighting like a huge fight against, the army of the undead. So first they recruit the druid of the talons, like the bear druids. But then, I mean, they want the druid of the claws, that are like bear people that are very strong. But they are all, I mean, presumably they all, I mean, they forgot themselves, and they all transform to the bear form, which is kind of like what they do, but they stayed like that, and they forgot themselves, according to the story. So the druid of the talon, the hero, like the bear druid, like, he wants to recruit them, but I mean, they are all bears, like, and not only bears, like in the underground cave or something like that, like underground world, like. So he enters the caves and he shouts to them, like, I mean, awake, I mean, they are awake, but they are stuck in the form, and then they kind of like, they remember who they are, and they transform back, to the druid form. Druid not like in like an android, like robot, druid like, druidic, priest, wooden priest. And then they join the fight, and of course they can transform to bear again, and whatever they want, but I mean, now they remember who they are. So the cherub, I'm like the druid of the talon, like, even though bear is not one of the 4 animals associated with the cherubs, there's the humans, famously, everybody knows that, like the human, the lion, the bird and the ox. But I'm like the dude of the Talmud that calls them, you need to be awakened. But it's going to be a process. It's not like in a day. You almost happens they shouldn't think too much about it because they will all be dead long before any kind of like Martian. It's not like in Total Recall that they press the button and like Mars is terraformed. It's not like that. If it was possible that they were, never mind. It's not the time to speak about the Martian Chronicles. But yes, it's also on the menu that on the agenda to wake them up and to. But it's not. It's almost like they shouldn't think about it because they will be dead long before anything happens in that front. And Titans, as I said many times, the Titans should live in Venus, and the Titans of the Earth are scumbags, Nazi scumbags. And the Titans of Venus, they shouldn't think too much about, reviving the space opera of like a million years ago, because they have their own things in Venus. There is enough to do in Venus without thinking about the Earth or Mars or any other place. Enough to do over there. And I will also be part of that. As I said, Venus is my place. Hopefully, it's up to them to what extent to kind of like, incorporate me, into their culture. But it's not that they are all, righteousness and pious, they can do, the Jews thing again. Hopefully not. As I said several times, maybe it's time to repeat it. Regarding the statement, do you think, or according to your opinion or belief, the Old Testament and the New Testament, are they, you believe of course that they are holy texts, are they also holy texts for the Venusians? So the answer to this question is yes. It's my belief. And another question is, famously Jesus Christ was crucified and he died for other people's sins. So there's a question. So this group of other people, obviously, this group includes it still includes until they're all dead, but included all Homo sapienses. As it says, the Jews and the Greeks, which means everybody, I don't remember the verse in the Evangelion, or maybe it's one of the epistles, לכל קצוות הארץ, for all the lands. So the question is, is this group also contain Venusians? So the answer is, to my belief, the answer is yes. In any case, it was more important to me to do this coffin thing because it's unbearable, this kind of humiliation. And I've humiliated all my life, and certainly in the last couple of years. But to my understanding, now we're in a situation that this humiliation must be stopped or at least mitigated, because I will never, it's not enough to destroy, humanity and to annihilate all Homo sapienses. I need to, at some point, me and my daughter, we should go to Venus, and I cannot go there like as the person that, people always put the boot on his face all the time. This is not a way to help them, by the way, but it's also not a way to help me, and I want to live a better life in this hell. Regarding the situation around me, so I don't even want to address it because it doesn't matter what's happening. The conclusion will always be the same. This guy is a clone, and whatever. He needs to be subjugated. He's a Russian spy. He's an American spy. He's a Chinese spy. All these ridiculous things. And they keep doing. By the way, during the night as well, and last couple of hours, they still continue with the music. Like they are not, fed up with this. סוכתי, עסוקה, נהדרת ויפה. זה מה ששמו לי בשעות האחרונות. עכשיו, אני לא יודע, יכול להיות שזה משהו קטע של רוסים, יש סוכה בלט, אני לא יודע מה זה אומר, אבל הרוסים אומרים את זה. אולי זה סוכה בלט, זה כאילו, אולי זה כאילו איזה מסר למרגלים רוסים, לא יודע. לא כזה משנה לי, תמיד הם יחשבו מה שהם רוצים לחשוב. שומעים את הזומבי, הוא עדיין יש לו מה לומר לזומביטון. אבל בכל אופן, אמרתי, אני לא איש מודיעין, אני לא בא לעשות הפתעות. אני אמרתי לכם כבר מה האג'נדה שלי ליום-יומיים הקרובים, 3. סוף סוף יש לי קצת כסף, לא הרבה, טיפה, אבל זה מספיק בשביל לקנות. קודם כל אני צריך לקנות דברים לבנות שלי, מתנות, שזה הכי חשוב. אבל גם אני צריך לקנות עוד אוכל וכל מיני צרכים בסיסיים שלא קניתי לעצמי המון זמן, ואפילו בגדים אין לי מה ללבוש, אז אני אקנה קצת בגדים וקצת אוכל וגם קצת עניינים שקשורים במדע. דברים לא יקרים, אבל עדיין, וחוץ מזה ענייני אומנות. אני רוצה קצת לחזור לציור, במיוחד בשביל הבנות שלי ואולי גם בשביל עוד סיבות, אז אני צריך לקנות קצת ענייני אומנות. אז אני אעשה עכשיו איזשהו טור של קניות, שתתמקד גם בענייני מכולת, כמו שאמרתי, גם אולי בענייני אומנות, וגם בענייני מדע. שמה זה מדע? זה עניינים מטמבוריה כאילו, כן? זה חוטאי, דברים כאלה של... זה לא מדע, כן? אני לא כל כך לקנות מיקרוסקופ. הלוואי שהיה לי כסף, אם היה לי המון כסף, הייתי קונה שם מיקרוסקופ נהדר. חבל לי שאני עם המיקרוסקופ הפשוט הזה. אבל אין לי כסף, הלוואי, זה היה יכול להיות מדהים. לאו דווקא, not necessarily larger magnification. I mean, magnification is not the issue. But I mean, better quality of the optics could be tremendously helpful, but I don't have enough money for that. But I mean, just simple stuff, you know, simple stuff. Light bulbs, things like that. So I'll buy some, you know, these things you buy in a hardware store, like חומרי בניין, תמוריה. So I'll do this as well. And as I said, I try to now, recently I try to do the shopping, I mean, mostly groceries, but I mean, now it's a little bit more than that, during noon, like 10, 11, 12. And the reason is that, I mean, I want to keep as farther as possible from midnight when I'm outside, because I don't want to, I mean, you know, to mistakenly, you know, and without, I mean, my wish to open any Venusian gate. And during the day it's not really an issue, because they only go during the night. Theoretically they can be open during the day, but this requires specific symbolic commands that I just don't do. But I mean, if I walk outside when the moon is above me, I mean, it's almost automatically open the gates. Even though there were ways to mitigate that as well. It is not binary. I mean, there are ways to make it slower or even to halt it. But the best thing is just not to be outside during the night. So I'll do the shopping, I mean, now, or I mean, not now, but maybe like in an hour or 2 hours when we will approach noon. Maybe I'll also take the opportunity to walk outside a little bit because I need to stretch my body, you know, just a little bit sport exercise. And then get back home and, you know, maybe start some art things, mostly clay stuff that I need to do. And see, maybe I have, like, you know, the inclination and the affinity towards additional, you know, to actually hold the science lecture that I planned for yesterday, and, you know, I felt that, I mean, they must be postponed, you know, in favor of what you hear right now when you've heard, or you know, those that have the neurons in their body, you know, during the night, because, I mean, but let's not get into it. Maybe situation will improve, I don't know, and I will be able to both speak about, you know, the science lectures and also, even more importantly, you know, get back to art and science. So that's the plan, and maybe first thing is breakfast, and then all the rest.